Hello and welcome to the Redmen TV. It's daily news time. We're back all the way until the end of January with our daily news shows. Excited to be back, actually. Not excited to be talking about Phil Coutinho going to Barcelona again. I'm going to get straight into it. We're going to talk about Phil Coutinho. We're going to talk about Dom Solanke and Ahmed Higazi as well from West Brom centre-back. So we'll go in that order. We'll start with the big news. Coutinho making headlines in Spain. That's what Joe Rimmer from the Liverpool Echo has gone with. So we're on the Liverpool Echo website right now. Phil Coutinho is back on the front pages in Spain. Sport are going full Coutinho this morning, saying the Brazilian has an agreement with FSG to leave the Reds in January. Okay, so there is the Sport front page. I'm sure you can all see it now. It says, El vestuario pide a Coutinho. And that might say that, it might not. Now, interestingly, I thought, you know what? I like to know what's going on. I'm not going to just take the Liverpool Echo's words as gospel, although you should because they're very, very good. I decided to do what any normal human being would do, and that is Google Translate the headline. And here we go. El vestuario pide Coutinho, the costume asks Coutinho. I don't know if that's what that actually says. If you can let me know in the comments section what it's supposed to say. So once more, we'll flick to the headline and we'll flick back. Here we go. El vestuario pide Coutinho. The costume asks Coutinho. I love it. These false translations are amazing. Clearly, it must either, if that's what that means, it must mean something else, because it kind of cracked me up. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? I mean, Si, what do you think that could mean?
I don't know, hopefully someone in the comments will tell us.
Come on, you Spanish-speaking Redmen. Let us know in the comments what that's supposed to mean.
Oh, we've got one. Alf 101, the dressing room asks for Coutinho.
The dressing room asks for Coutinho. Now it kind of makes sense. It doesn't really lead with FSG. I've got an agreement with Coutinho, but you know what? The dressing room asks for Coutinho. Fair enough. That's obviously the players. So we went to Football España. Barcelona have been handed renewed hope of signing Liverpool playmaker Coutinho, according to reports in Spain. Reporting Diario Sport, and if you click on the link, it's an Epson ad, by the way. Claims Liverpool demands €150 million could now be met by Barcelona after an indication that a scattered payment structure for the deal would be possible. You know what? The next place that I went to was the Sport website, because I tried to go to the Sport website from that link, and as I say, it was an Epson advert. Very sneaky. I'm not sure you're really allowed to do that, but go on. Now, bear with me on this, because this is translated from Spanish into English from the Sport website. Liverpool would accept deferred payments from Barca for Coutinho. So nothing mentioned about Liverpool actually having a deal in place, or FSG having a deal in place with Barcelona for January here. The English club would not put excessive difficulties in dividing the figure into a fixed and a bonus. So what they're talking about, I think from my limited English that I've got in front of me, is that, you know, back in the summer transfer window, there was talks of how they structure the payments. I think that's very much at the forefront of Sports article, and what they're saying is it's not going to be as difficult this time to structure that payment. PSG are obviously interested in Phil Coutinho, if you believe reports as well. They've got all the stuff with Kylian Mbappe going on. Obviously, they'll be paying for Kylian Mbappe. I think it's next summer, because they had to get around the financial fair play rules. And interesting, there's a nice little something on that in this article. So we'll scroll down. Okay, yeah. Who's on loan? Here we go, right here. Next summer, the Qatar's investment club has to pay for the signing of Kylian Mbappe, who is playing on loan to dribble the financial fair play. I like that. That's nice terminology. They're dribbling around the financial fair play stuff. They are saying, Sport is saying, if the French team take the same approach with Coutinho, they wouldn't be paying until well after the World Cup next year. Apparently, Phil Coutinho was said to his agent, according to Sport, that he only wants to go to Barcelona, and to make that happen, he doesn't want to go to the France club PSG. Leave me your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Si, have you got any comments on Phil Coutinho?
Yes, I thought I copy and pasted it, but I haven't.
I've got one to begin us with. Press Goku. Okay, now this is just getting old.
It is indeed. It is. I found it. Mario Da Costa says we're not really dependent on him anymore. If we get good money and get a good replacement, if it's true.
It's very true that actually. There was a really interesting article, I think it was for Football Whispers by a guy called Joe Maguire actually. I want to get him into the show actually.
Sam Maguire.
Sam Maguire, apologies. Sam Maguire. And what he talks about is how Phil Coutinho doesn't really fit into this Liverpool side anymore. He took a tactical look at his game against Chelsea and he noticed that he wasn't really tracking Danny Drinkwater back and that was causing problems for the other two midfielders, Henderson and Wijnaldum, I think it was, and obviously the defence and stuff. Now, for me personally, that made me start to think that article's really good. You should definitely go and check that out. What I think that means is that Adam Lallana is really good at tracking players back and he's a creative force. So I wonder if Adam Lallana is the best fit for that central midfielder position ahead of Phil Coutinho, and then you keep the other two defensive-minded midfielders. And Phil Coutinho on the left wing, well, I think our preferred front three, or mine certainly, I imagine a lot of people would agree with me on this, is Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, and Mo Salah going left to right. So Phil Coutinho, although one of the best players at the football club, the way that we've been playing this season might not even be in our preferred 11, which is absolutely insane. So going back to the comment there, we could we're probably in a much better position to sell Phil Coutinho now than we were in the summer. I still don't think you should be selling one of your best players because I still think there's a role for Phil Coutinho in this side. If I had the choice, I probably wouldn't sell.
I've got another good comment here from Brian McMahon Gallagher. He says, a few months and a Salah later, it's not looking like the world is ending anymore.
That's mad. That's exactly it. And you've put it better than I could have. Maybe you should be doing this show. Because that's right. And that's what we were talking about. Going into the summer, we had Sadio Mane and Phil Coutinho. We're almost the shining lights of this side. And now we've got Mo Salah, who's kind of eclipsed them all, isn't it? So, yeah, I completely agree with that. We'll go on to our next story and we'll come back to the comment a little bit later on then. Swansea, according to Team Talk, a tip to land Liverpool star in January loan deal. And this one talks about Swansea looking to get in for Dom Solanke, which I think is quite interesting. No real great information in this article, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Just that Paul Clement's desperate to bring in more firepower. Only scored 7 top-flight goals this season so far. And Solanke will play alongside former Chelsea player Tammy Abraham. They play together for Chelsea and England. So yeah, not really much on Solanke, but I think for me personally, before we get a comment, it seems a little bit nuts, this one, because I know, like, only 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, Sturridge is supposed to be looking for a move, isn't he? And then if Sturridge goes in January and Solanke goes in January, what have you got? You've got Danny Ings as your backup centre forward. So I'd be really surprised if Dom Solanke does go in January. I mean, he needs more game time, certainly, I understand that, but I do think there will be games, maybe when the FA Cup starts again, there might be a few more minutes for Dom Solanke, but right now he's not getting many. What does everyone in the comment section think?
Well, I asked a simple question, would you send Solanke out on loan? And it looks like most people have said yes.
Yeah, that's really surprising.
Yeah, I was surprised by it as well. I wouldn't send him out on loan myself. I think we need him. He'd be, even though he hasn't been getting much game time, he's been on the bench pretty much every game because he is that other option. There is going to be games where we need him. Exactly,
and listen, right now, Daniel Sturridge is getting those extra minutes at the end of games, and he is getting starts like we saw at the weekend against Chelsea and stuff, but I'd be really surprised if we went through an entire season with just utilising really Firmino and Daniel Sturridge, because I know Daniel Sturridge has been fit for a long time now, but you've still got those question marks, and when you get to the business end of the season, there's a lot more miles in the legs, a few more miles in the legs certainly, and then you're starting to ask the questions of will Sturridge's body hold up, and I suppose that really does make me wonder whether Danny Ings is going to be coming back into this side. We saw him taken to the Seville game for the first time in the Champions League. So I wonder whether we're going to see a little bit more of Danny Ings over the coming months. Certainly we'll be keeping tabs on the Solanke stuff. I'm really surprised that you would loan him. Really am, but I'm not saying that I'm right on this at all. It's just my opinion.
Funny, I'm not 100% sure what he means by this.
Adriano
Donez says we can't be loaning Dom out. Come FA Cup, it's going to be assholes and elbows.
I don't even know where to start with that one. Nice comment though, nice one for that, mate. Liverpool and Leicester monitoring Ahmed Hegazi, according to sources. Now this one's ESPN.com. I tracked this back. First one in England that was reporting this was the Metro about 9.5 hours ago, something like that. first news outlet that I saw to run this story was ESPN, and it's a guy called Peter O'Rourke, who I've never actually heard of. I don't know how legitimate his sources are with regards to Liverpool and stuff, but Liverpool and Leicester apparently looking at the West Brom centre-back. He's obviously on loan from Egyptian club Al Ahly. In the summer, they brought him in. He's put in a couple of man of the match displays and stuff. Rumoured to be around about 4 or 5 million quid for this centre-half in January. Now, my first initial thought was, if Liverpool just sign one centre-half this January and it's a 4 million fella from a struggling West Brom side, heads are going to fall off big time. But you know what, I thought, you know what, I'll do a little bit more. I'd look into his stats and stuff. So I did, I pulled up Squawka, the comparison matrix over there, compared him to Dejan Lovren and Virgil van Dijk. He scored 1 goal this season, the others haven't scored any. His pass completion's a little bit lower. He's not won as many tackles per 90 metrics, these are, by the way, as Dejan Lovren, but he's won more than Virgil van Dijk. He's lost more tackles, but we all know, we're all clued up in tackles won and tackles lost nowadays, aren't we, because of the stuff with Henderson last week. Aerial duels, he's winning nowhere near as many, half as many as Dejan Lovren, 3 times less than Virgil van Dijk. His interceptions are above Dejan Lovren, but below Virgil van Dijk. Blocks, again, half as many as Virgil van Dijk, but more than Dejan Lovren. Clearances, more than all of them, which is quite interesting, but I imagine he's got a lot more work to do at West Brom than Liverpool and Southampton, to be fair. He's made the fewest defensive errors, and only Virgil van Dijk has not made a defensive error leading to a goal. So actually, you know what, comparing on these metrics, he does compare reasonably favourably with Dejan Lovren. Virgil van Dijk seems to be the outstanding candidate. Look at all those stars running down down the side there, the categories that he's led in. I think we all want Virgil van Dijk to come in January. Hopefully it won't be one or the other, because as I mentioned, heads will absolutely roll. So let me know what you thought on Ahmed Haghali and whether you'd want to see him as Liverpool, maybe as that, you know, second centre-back that we sign hopefully in January. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Dean Kingston says, we have a defender in Gomez who kept Neymar in his pocket. Why buy someone like that? I think Klopp has, throughout his career, looked for players who provide value for money, hasn't he? And, you know, who are better than what they're playing for. Now, if he believes that he can get this guy in and train him up and he could be a potential first-teamer in this Liverpool side, then I can understand that. I don't think, judging by the rumours, that this is the guy that's going to end Liverpool's defensive frailties and poor defence, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I think it needs to be a team effort, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I do think the midfield have had a lot of responsibility this last week, certainly. Sevilla, Chelsea. Getting overrun does not help your defence, especially when your defence isn't as good as some of the teams around us. Beinar Sigurdsson says he's massive, would probably sort out the set-piece troubles. If he was playing for West Brom and he was playing for Pulis, then I'm sure that he is well drilled on set pieces. Prescott says, remember what he thought about Lovren, Pajak? Yeah, that's true, but I don't think that... Yeah, I don't really know where to go with that one, if I'm perfectly honest. So there you go, that's the Daily News Show. We'll be back tomorrow with another transfer news show. We'll be looking at all the ins, all the outs, hopefully loads of ins, hopefully not a load of outs.
Hopefully Liverpool will have 3 points more on the board.
I'm damn straight. Yeah, we'll be off to Stoke later tonight, so don't forget to check out the fan cams and the post-match content. As always, we're driving down there later today. Can't wait for that one. Nice little easy away. It's an hour away from Liverpool. It's all good. Let us know your score predictions in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching the Daily News Show. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're glad that it's back, because we are. Can't wait to get stuck into these transfer rooms and start rating some of these transfer rooms. I think that's one of the ideas that we're going to do. So over the next month, we'll make a big board and we'll start to rate the rumours and we'll see how we get on as the transfer window goes. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time on the Redmen TV.